Thought we did what we needed to do to win the football game tonight. A very business-like approach. Got back to playing Tennessee football in terms of one penalty. We had some individuals step up, impact the game. You know, Aaron Medley, 7 touchbacks. Anytime you can do that, it helps you in the field position game. Justin was responsible for 5 touchdowns. I thought Jonathan Johnson continues to step up, and just consistency and performance by that young man. Practice in the games, you always know what you're going to get from him. Darrell Scott, Justice Pickett gave us some quality reps today. We had 2 big returns, obviously by Cam Sutton and Evan Berry, which are always momentum plays, so that was great to see. And then, you know, we had some young individuals get more reps, so we were able to, you know, get them in the game, and they're able to put their football identity on video and their personal brand. And it'll give us great evaluation moving forward with this football team as we continue to develop depth across the board. So I'll answer any. Also, Jason Kroom, I thought, really stepped up tonight and had some big catches for us in some critical moments as well. So I'll answer any questions you may have.
Which one do you think Justin ran it a little bit more today?
Because he's heard Jimmy Himes all week. No.
Good reason.
Thank you. It was there and he took it. I thought Justin was much more aggressive in his mindset, in his thinking, and the way he played the game. And he played confident tonight, which that's what we're going to need him as we continue to move forward.
When you say it was there and he took it, what was there that you haven't seen, I guess, in terms of?
Just the end collapsing, you know, on his own. And, you know, again, we don't need a home run from the quarterback position. We just need 4 yards. And that's part of managing the game. And again, he was more aggressive in his thought process.
Did you ask him to be more aggressive?
No, that's the thing. Jimmy is coached it the exact same way. We talked about being assertive in everything that we do, but did not. We always stress it, but it wasn't, you know, any more than normal.
But you guys, I think Jalen got 2 carries in the first 3 plays of the game, didn't really play again. Were you guys just kind of playing it careful with his shoulder?
Both, you know, being protective, and our training room will be working overtime tonight. That's the thing about this football team is you know, we have a good win. Anytime you win is very, very special. As we know in college football, half the teams in the country lose, half the teams win. So anytime you win is a great win. But these kids are so dedicated is that they're going over right now to the Anderson Training Center to get treatments. And, you know, that's a big part of it. We're going in a tough stretch here.
A bunch of guys obviously came up and didn't return. I guess who's really hurting with the season?
I'll know more. The only thing I've heard right now is Devin Young has a couple broken ribs. I have to get clarification on that. But, you know, the other individuals, I'll just have to wait and see. You know, I'll go back over to the training center and wait for them, and then meet with Jason like we always do on Sunday and know a little bit more then.
Was Perry hurt or sick, or why did Jonathan get the start?
Just practice habits and standard expectations. Just like Emmanuel Mosley started today in place of Mike Williams. You know, you have to earn your spot with your week of preparation and all that. Not to say that Alton or Mike had a poor week of practice. No, they did okay, but again, it's just that competitive greatness that we talk about all the time.
What did you think of Evan's kickoff return? I guess it's the first time he's got his hands on the ball this year.
He did a great job, and now he's got to find out a finish. But, you know, Evan has another element of speed, and he has great confidence, and our players believe in him. So, you know, you start the second half with a big splash play, a big momentum play like that, and we did a great job of turning it into 7 points, and that's always big to really set the temperament, set the tone for the second half.
And Coach, you kind of started that before halftime if they got the field goal. How important was it just to sort of get 7 and go in completely the upper hand?
Well, it was, and again, Justin did a great job of managing the 1-minute drill, and you know, again, everything in football is momentum and confidence, but again, we executed the plays that we needed to. Again, Jonathan Johnson ran a great route, and Justin throwing on the run to his left put the ball right where it needed to be.
Pleased with the defensive performance, the way they shut defense.
I was, and you know, wasn't particularly pleased at the end of the game with our youngsters, and they were all youngsters, but the individuals that were getting some valuable repetitions, and it's like I told Kurt and AJ, is the standard and the expectation doesn't change no matter who's on the field. And that's why I huddled them up after that one series. And we knew we were going to be challenged with the quarterback runs, and Chattanooga's a really well-coached football team, and they'll continue to win, their share of games, and have a lot of respect for David Blackburn and their entire administration and their football team. But again, the style of play, the standard, the expectations never will change no matter who's on the field, and they need to know that.
Butch, five more sacks today, giving up the offense. How do you handle their mindsets and their confidence level?
Well, we'll break them down. A couple of the sacks weren't the offensive line. It was a back and protection. So again, all naked eyes want to point towards the offensive line. Sometimes we still held on to the ball too much, and we got to put the ball away. But we'll continue to address it. We'll break it down, and you just got to keep working on it. Sometimes we overset on the pass rush and allow the guy inside penetration, which we can't. We have to trust our technique. So some of it was technique, some of it was just getting beat one-on-one, and then some of it was a different player. So all you can do is just go back to work, which they will.
Which when Marquez came back from the locker room, he still had his helmet and his pads on. Did he have come back in the game if y'all needed him today?
He could have, but again, he was sore, and we wanted to make sure that we try to get him ready for next week.
But you're at the midway point. How would you evaluate the first half of the season? And what are the things you leave here today knowing that you have to see from your team moving forward?
Well, we need much more depth, and a lot of that will be addressed in recruiting. Some of that are young players that aren't playing as much, need to continue to work and progress throughout the season, but depth becomes a big issue. You look at the running back position, that's a depth of concern. We all know depth in the O-line, depth at tight end is across the board. But we just have to stay focused on the task at hand and grind every single day. That's all you can do. But we're really getting phenomenal leadership right now, and our players haven't blinked. And we're 3-3 at midway, and been in some very, very close games. And it's going to be a grind coming up. It's going to be a mental grind, and just staying focused on the process, not letting outside clutter or distractions kick in, and just focus on winning the moment, every single day. And I said it, the goal for this football team has not changed since August. Our goal is to be the best possible football team we can possibly be. No more, no less, and we'll continue to work through that.
With that in mind, how much better do you feel about your team right now than you did in August, or maybe than you did when you went to Oklahoma?
Well, I've always felt good about our team. I like our character. I like our competitive character. They allow them, they let our coaches push them, and they're becoming that inner drive. They're starting to speak the same language. You have leaders really asserting themselves. So I've always liked it. It's just, it's a challenge when you don't have a lot of depth and when you don't have a lot of live game experience. And I find out a little bit more about this football team every single week just because of they're gaining valuable game repetitions. It's like I told the football team last night, I still don't know how to read them. In every football team I've had the privilege of being the head coach for, I could tell exactly when they're locked in, all that. And, I asked the coaches, what's your thoughts? And they said, you just have, you have older players, you have players that have never played before. You have such a different mix, and you're so youthful, is that they're learning as we continue to go. But the more and more the season plays out, the more and more I find out more about this football team. And I told them that this game was going to be a test of their competitive character, to come out and put your best performance forward and play complementary football. And so we'll go back and we'll revisit the video. But again, I liked our business-like approach all week.
What you talked about needing more depth on defensive line linebackers, is this, I guess, a big enough sample size for guys like Jakob Johnson or Jalen Miller to say, hey, you guys can play more because of this, or is this too small of a sample size?
Well, any type of sample size is big for us. So now we have some live game repetitions. You know, we made some mental errors, and like I told Jakob, you know, you learned a valuable experience today, and you're one snap away. Now it's what you do with those game live repetitions. How do you improve? You can't make the same mistake twice. And they're very prideful. They take great pride in their performance. But again, it's these individuals knowing to stay tuned in. Look at Emmanuel Mosley. Emmanuel Mosley didn't play very much at all until last week. And all of a sudden, in the middle of the game against Florida, boom, he's pressed into a critical situation. And he performed well. And so this week, he earned the start by his performance in practice and doing the right things. And so, again, you look at all that, you know, that's a great illustration. Now, what do these individuals, what does Dwayne Hendricks do with those repetitions? What does Jakob Johnson do with those repetitions? What does Justin King do with those repetitions? Demarie Mixon. I could go on and on and on. Now, what do you do with those repetitions? Because as you know, we're only halfway through, and we're a mass unit right now. And again, we have to continue to develop depth in our football program.
How close was Jacob Bealey going to that team?
Close. He keeps getting, you know, closer. We don't ever want to put an individual in a game right now. And I know he's probably hurt because he'd like to play, and that's his competitive nature, and I love him for it. But again, we're always going to err on, you know, the player welfare and development, and you know, we just didn't think quite yet coming back from it he was game ready yet.
What's your kind of evaluation of that game at the midway point? I know you guys have
Right.
two important guys in there today, but are there things you can take?
Work in progress. We still don't have very many explosive runs. You know, we need more explosive runs. Again, it's hard to play perfect. So just the overall level of consistency when we run the football and our run efficiency.
Could Marlon Lane play today?
No. You know, he tried to go. He's practiced all week, but you know, he was banged up. I've never been in a game like that where you're down 3 running backs just like that, and that's why you need running backs in football. Is a game of depth, and that was never illustrated more so than tonight.
Is Jonathan, is that consistency something that's just kind of developed over the last couple of weeks, or is that something
No.
that's been a while?
Jonathan has displayed that consistency week in and week out starting last year, and doesn't say 2 words, hangs on every word the coaches tell him, gives great effort, and is just consistent. You just have to tell him one time, and he's able to do that. It was great also, you know, when we're talking about putting your identity and your personal brand on video, it's great to get Vic Wharton some reps. He had a number of catches. So again, things that we can teach off of and things that these players can go back. And it's one thing to learn off of other people, but now they're able to go back and learn off themselves, and that's an invaluable teaching tool.
Coach, I know you're limited on the offensive line in numbers, but that was the position maybe you went to the reserves for the latest. Can you kind of talk about what you saw from there?
Well, I think just those 5 need every repetition of working together, the communicative aspect, the pad level, the use of the hands, the fundamentals. So they need every rep that they can get. And then again, it was great to get those other individuals in the game as well and evaluate them.
Coach, given the games you've played already and the games you still have to play, how important was it to get a positive result today, and how much does that help this team going forward?
Anytime you win is great. You know, I had a coach tell me once, every time you win, the drinks are a little bit colder and the food is a little bit warmer. And if you'd see those kids in that locker room, you know, that they've put so much effort and sweat equity into this season, and they continue to be all in. And, you know, I coach for the kids, you know, and just to see the look on their faces and singing Rocky Top, and that's special. And it's like Kurt said, hey, we can't forget how this feeling feels. And so anytime you win is special, but as hard as these kids have worked, to see the fruits of their labor, so to speak, come to fruition tonight is big, and we're going to be challenged as we continue to go. As you know, it's every week from here on out is a grind.
Which obviously, if Devin was not able to go for whatever period of time, to see Evan Berry go out there and make a big play like that, how big was that?
It was big. Evan's been doing it in practice, and he's in my hip pocket every week. He wants the ball in his hands. So again, he's done that in practice, but now to do it in a game gives that unit great confidence.
You know how long Devin's gonna be out?
I do not. And again, I'll get more clarification on the ribs, but that's the preliminary right now.
All right, thanks, everyone.
You guys have a good night.